Alright, so I've scoured this plant and found a branch that I think is pretty suitable for hardwood cuttings. Now, a lot of branches will work. Basically what you're looking for is around second year's growth, branches no thicker than a pencil, and really you want to be about the size of a pencil. And you want to search for the hardwood, not the softwood. Now this whole plant could be classified as a hardwood, but what I'm talking about there is second year growth, really. We want this wood after it's hardened up a little bit. When wood is growing fresh, it's greener and much softer. You can see the tip of this will just bend pretty darn easy compared to a little bit further down on the stem. You can see the bend is more down in here and not right at my fingertips, where it bends right at my fingertips in here. And this is pretty easy. You hopefully can see it. As we go down the stem here, we can see that, hold on just a second here, from about that length of it is pretty soft. So we're going to want to discard that and then keep the rest of the length down to about the end here where it comes into the main stem. So what we can do really easily here is just go down around the main stem, try and get it as close to the bud where it's coming off as possible. That'll just help the plant heal up even faster and become even more vigorous from our cutting here. It'll have more energy to send out new sprouts, new branches. So we'll just cut here, like that. Falls to the ground. We can pick him up now. Now we have a nice stem here, very easy to work with. So now I'm just going to cut off the tip of this branch. Very difficult to film alone. Cut off the tip of this branch, so I'll just cut that off out of the camera angle because I can't really show it too easily. But let me cut that off. Just keep you on the plant here so you can absorb how beautiful this dogwood is. Alright, so now I've cut that tip off. Where are we here? Now, basically what we're going to want to do is cut this up into multiple segments of stem, and I'll just keep you on this plant here, it's pretty difficult. But what we're going to want to do is keep about 3 to 6 buds on each cutting. So I'll cut this stem right here into, it looks like just from the amount of buds we have to work with here, it looks like I can get 2 hardwood cuttings. So you're going to want to have a flat cutting on the end here, and I can just clean this end up here and cut off that bottom so it's flat. And you're going to come up 3 to 6 buds down the stem, so that'll be about from the end here to where my finger is, right here. And we can just cut an angle right above that bud. So let me do that here once more out of camera. Let's count here. 1, 2, 3. Try and get in there safely. Cut a nice angle there. These shears aren't quite the best to do this either. You want really sharp, clean shears, so you can see that it's not as clean as it should be. So these are not ideal, but you get the idea. So now we have a hardwood cutting, and I would just clean up that bottom a little more, make it nice and flat and flush, and this will essentially grow a new plant. So you can have a few more buds than this, but from here, now what you're going to want to do is just keep this in a moist medium until you can actually put it in the ground and grow it this spring. If we were to put it in the ground right now, we'd have a lot of risk of it just literally being pushed out by the thawing and freezing that would be going on in the spring breakup time. But for now, I'll just leave this in the woods. It's not the best cutting in the world, but for now, if you were going to propagate this, you would just either store it in some soil, maybe in the basement if you have a cold, dark basement. You can just store it. You don't want it to freeze, but you don't want it to be warm. You want it to be, I guess, probably between about maybe 35 and 45 degrees, and that'll just keep it dormant and store it. You can stick it in some soil. You can wrap up a bunch of these cuttings in some twine and store them in a moist bag with some paper shreddings or some other kind of moss medium. Really anything that you can just keep it warm, or keep it, not warm, excuse me, keep it cool and keep it moist. And then eventually, when spring eventually does come in this Michigan that we live in, you can put this in the ground and it'll pretty much do its own thing from there and grow into a whole new plant. You can grow it in a nursery bed and try and baby it a little bit more and have it sit in the bed for 1 year, get those roots really nice in some controlled soil that you have tilled up, just to have a soil medium that it can really root in freely and send off a lot of roots. And the roots will come out of these buds, which is why you want to keep as many buds as you can, about 3 to 6. And I would just bury this in the ground, put 2 buds in the ground and leave the top bud above ground, and that'll grow a whole new plant. So it's really easy. There's a lot of other videos out there online that can show you how to do it, and probably some that'll be a little bit more informative than just one guy and an iPhone camera here. But I think you get the idea, and that is really it. You can grow a whole new plant just from this, and I think it's not very widely known, and it's a great fun fact and just a great conservation tool that you can propagate these plants with nothing more than a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and a lot of love, and start reforesting any area that will handle the plants, that will suit the plants' site classifications, just, you know, soil, light, water, everything that that specific plant needs. All plants are different, so it's important to be well versed with what you're planting and where you're planting it, but it's just a great method to start your own conservation projects, and especially in ash swamps like this, former ash swamps where we've lost a lot of trees. This type of conservation practice, because it's essentially free and very easy, is of the utmost importance, and I think can be a great tool to help us start revegetating these communities with native and useful plants for both humans and wildlife, water quality, the whole 9 yards there. So like I said, lots of videos online that will maybe do a little bit better job of detailing this process, but it's very easy and it's really cool. Thanks so much.